Peace. I'm finally doing a recap of my 90-day fast that I actually completed last year. It ran from May 18th through August 15th was my last day. And on this fast, I was drinking essentially nothing but liquids. I was juice fasting. So I know that can kind of seem like, how can you survive? How can the human body sustain itself that way? Well, for one, I think if you can, everyone in this lifetime, especially those who have been on the standard American diet, get a fast in, get a real long-term fast in. Our bodies are equipped and divinely crafted to excel and be in vitality and homeostasis on a lot less than we consume, to the extent that if you're someone that's been eating 2-3 meals a day consistently on end, it's safe to say that you're backed up that you're backed up in terms of just your body needing to facilitate the waste that it's using from breaking down all the food material that you've been eating. Or a lot of food that we consume just goes undigested. So but again, back to my personal experience with juice fasting and why juice fasting, and how did I even conjure up the idea of let me do it for 90 days even. I'll kind of be breaking down why fasting in general, why I felt necessary to even do this for 90 days, what it did for me, the journey, and for anyone who's been interested in fasting or considering fasting as a healing mechanism for physical ailments. I just want to kind of be a tool and a guide for you. And there's quite a lot to talk about, so I will periodically be kind of looking at my outline here. And yeah, this will definitely be a nice little yap session. My understanding of fasting is to the extent that when we deprive our bodies, or not even deprive, but give our bodies a rest from ingesting and digesting and eliminating food, that our system can focus on all the other functions and cycles that it's constantly running through, homeostasis. And after a certain point of your body not eating physical solids and having to digest physical solids, it goes into a state of autophagy. And I like to think of autophagy as your body eating itself. I think that's a funny way to think of it. And it's essentially your body is eliminating or eating the bad, dysfunctional cells within your body that have kind of mutated from harmful foods that you've been ingesting, certain contamination, whether it's environmental pollutants, things we're putting on our body, chemicals in our toiletries, everything. It's literally in everything. And that will definitely disrupt our body and cause cells to react in a negative way where they're not functioning, where they're actually a detriment to us. And for me, it was the very beginning of 2023 when I kind of had a flare up. That's the best way I could describe it. It was kind of all at once. All at once I started having asthma type symptoms. I started having consistent heart palpitations. Now what I understand is thyroidism, hyperthyroidism. The gland that is, like for men, the gland that is underneath your Adam's apple is your thyroid, and that kind of is in charge of being the gear shift of the body. Shout out to Dr. Yaki with that analogy, but the gear shift of your body, it is made to kind of facilitate your body's functions and your hormonal regulation. And along with that, my gut was in total disarray. I could barely digest anything. Like, I could eat a meal early in the day and it would take me the rest of the day to digest it. My stomach was always tender regardless of what I ate, even fruit. And honestly, once I kind of acknowledged each symptom and kind of what was going on, and I understood it was holistic. It wasn't just each individual area. I was just like, bro, like, my body is just completely out of whack and out of sync. And as I kind of, thank God for social media, as I kind of went down the holistic health rabbit hole and got in tune with people like Dr. Sebi, and who was my introduction into like the alkaline diet and the natural way of living, I was kind of understanding that I've been doing my body the biggest disservice up until now, not knowingly, ignorantly, in terms of eating the standard American diet, putting any store-bought toiletry on my body. So just toothpaste, lotion, body wash, all the above. If you're not mindful in picking the natural products, all that stuff is just filled with chemicals and disruptors. And we would never, for me, I would never have realized it or thought about it until it kind of bit me in the butt. So again, the diet, the toiletries, the environment, so not getting enough fresh air, using cologne, those are all kind of environmental pollutions. Smoking, those are all environmental pollutions. And those kind of three main areas of my life I was just severely neglecting. And I can kind of, now that I'm on the other side of that, I do feel grateful for the journey and feel grateful for what all I've learned, because it's just like, I don't have anyone in my life who's a big holistic health advocate that would have taught me all this stuff. So it's like I kind of had to go through it for the betterment of not only myself but those around me and all the people in following generations to come for me and my lineage. I mean, but once I kind of understood, it was more of a lifestyle issue that kind of bubbled up into, again, the flare up of just a like laundry list of symptoms and things that were plaguing me. Honestly, there was a time when so I am a college student, I'm an IT student, and there was, when this first has happened at the beginning of 2023, I would wake up feeling so flared up. That's the best word I can put it. I would wake up every day feeling so flared up, feeling so congested to breathe, feeling so irritated in my thyroid area, not having an appetite, any of those things, low energy, just a fraction of myself. There was days where I literally needed to kind of choose to participate in showing up for myself. Like, that was kind of a decision I was having to make every day, because I was down so bad. I mean, I was down so bad that the best I was gonna do that day was kind of get out of, like, leave my room, eat, and do homework. And thank God that all my classes were online, and I was able to do that, and that wasn't something I had to worry about, was commuting to class. And So again, all that idle time of feeling sick and just kind of being stagnant in a way, I just researched as much as humanly possible. I started with the alkaline diet, and veganism, and switching all of my natural products, just making sure I got all pollutants out of my area. So no artificial candles, no air fresheners, no cologne. I love cologne. Who doesn't love like this to smell good? But no cologne. Every body product unscented. So I just made sure that every variable that I could control was for me, and gave my body the right environment and the right foundation to heal itself, because our bodies are naturally designed to heal from virtually anything. So I started with the alkaline diet. So that's for those who are not more familiar with the alkaline diet. The alkaline diet is more, it's more based around low glycemic foods, as well as nutrient dense foods that have a high alkalinity and resonate with our bodies easier, and more smoother, to again take as much stress off the body as possible to allow it to heal. And that looks like swaps of instead of eating like white flour and bread, for example, to switching over to spelt bread or teff bread, and like small swaps like that definitely made a difference in my life. So I really cut out like all dairy, all animal products altogether, and was eating more of like an alkaline diet. I kind of treated it as 80-20. So anytime I would cook at home, it would be alkaline. And again, I'm so grateful that there were influencers at the time who were really promoting the alkaline diet, and I definitely followed them day to day for recipes and bought a couple cookbooks, and I was feeling good. But I continued to be consistent and progress, and I just knew it wasn't enough. And I wasn't feeling the benefits of making the right choices when it came to my food. So that's when I kind of started thinking of more alternative routes. Like, I've already covered all the bases with my toiletries and going all natural that way, and my environment being uplifting and high frequency. I just knew something had to give, because I couldn't continue to live my life that way. It was just such a burden just to get through every day. Like, I was definitely more distant from my family and friends than I've ever been. I wasn't really indulging my passions as much as I would like to, and fight or flight all day, every day. Like, literally, if I was not eating raw fruits and vegetables, my body would react to it in a way as if, essentially like an allergic reaction. And forget just get along like cooked foods, or the more acidic foods, or the more inflammatory foods. Even if I would eat, say, like coconut milk, raw coconut milk with no additives, or almond butter, I would still flare up. So like, my body was literally rejecting or having an allergic reaction to everything under the sun other than raw fruits and vegetables. And that's when I kind of went down the rabbit hole of fasting and a raw diet. So I learned through other influencers and people that have been on the raw diet for years, that our body definitely has to do significant, I wouldn't say significantly, but a decent amount more work to extract nutrients and continue to be in its natural flow of things. Like, it has to do a moderate amount of more work relative to, like, for cooked food relative to raw foods. So I mean, humans have been eating cooked food for enough time to where we've evolved a bit, so it's not really something that we can't. You don't have to be eating like fully raw to be a healthy person. Like that's a no-brainer. Like you don't have to only be eating raw foods, but that should be a significant portion of your diet. And for someone who was dealing with chronic disease, I felt moved to indulge and to really take on the raw diet. And so that's what I did. I probably went, I was probably alkaline for, let's say, about 6 months. And then towards the end of 2023, I went more raw, and I definitely felt less stress on my body. I definitely felt good, but I could eat a raw meal. I could prepare a nice raw meal, and still feel that sluggish stagnation with digesting it. And it's still feeling heavy on raw foods. I was still feeling heavy on raw foods. And that's kind of, honestly, when I started giving up on trying to consistently make the right choice. Because a lot of times when you're consistently making the wrong choice, like the right choice, and you're not seeing the benefits, and on top of that, you've been consistent for a while, you've been consistent for months, it's easy to lose focus, to lose motivation. And that's honestly where I was at the beginning of 2024. And it manifested itself as binge eating. I was going back to dairy, I was going back to refined sugar, I was just bugging out. Like I would literally go 2-3 days raw or alkaline, just eating right, being mindful. And I'm such a person that's in tune with attention to detail. Like I can be a sicko, honestly, with attention to detail. And like I could be alkaline, refined sugar free, like seed oil free, inflammatory grain free, like all those things for a 3 to 4 day span, and then just bug out and eat anything for the next 2 or 3 days following that. So I was just like, it just got to a point where I was like, I have to go on a food vacation. Like I, honest to God, need a break. I need a break, because although I'm seeing improvement in my life with the veganism and the alkaline eating and all the above, I just couldn't sustain it. Like I just honestly needed a break from eating altogether, period. And that epiphany came after, because I mentioned Dr. Sebi, and I did follow Dr. Sebi's teachings for a short amount of time. And that's eventually when I started to follow Dr. Yaki. Well, Dr. Yakai, but people call him both. And to me, he is the cutting edge of holistic health and nutrition, especially for melanated people. And he shared a story of literally cutting edge of not cutting edge, but splitting hairs of a point in his life where he was dealing with the exact same things: the asthma symptoms, the palpitations, the digestion issues, the a little unlike me, but he also was dealing with diabetes, and the list goes on and on and on. And how he treated himself, his medicine, his healing was a 120-day juice fast. And before I went on my 90-day juice fast, the most I ever did was maybe 3 days to a week, just to test it for myself, just to see, okay, how do I feel? And kind of taking my own trial on it. That's what we have to do with these type of things. And I immediately realized, after kind of experimenting with juice fasting, this is taking all the stress I need off my body. This is what I'm needing. This is what I've been looking for, what I've been moving to, what all previous practices has led up to. So once I understood that if you are opting to do a juice fast, the way our body turns over itself, the way it heals itself, how cells turn over, if you're really trying to do a reset, 90 to 120 days is the optimal time frame. And again, going back to my specific symptoms, the heart palpitations, the asthma symptoms, the thyroidism, the gut issues, those are all so interconnected that this was the approach that was going to address all of those things at once. And to supplement my fast, I also did tinctures. So I broke up my fast into 3/3. So 1 month I focused on clearing out my elimination pathways, moving and eliminating anything that was deterring my body's natural ability to help it to heal itself. So candida, yeast, parasites, my anything being backed up in my colon, all the above. And from there, the second month, I just kind of allowed my body to flush all those things. And then on my 3rd month, I addressed my nervous system, my adrenals, and my brain connection. And this was down to my biggest problem area was the heart palpitations. Like, I would have heart palpitations just kind of still, even on my fast. I would have them at times, at random times, and they really felt like they were harming my quality of life. So I just wanted to address the biggest problem area. And along with your thyroid kind of being a central system of hormones in your body's flow, so are your adrenals. And reviewing some of Dr. Yakai's video lectures, I was able to understand that adrenal fatigue or adrenal imbalance can allow heart palpitations to come on, because not to mention, when I was first having all of these symptoms, I definitely went the traditional route. Like, I was in and out of the hospital, taking tests, going to see specialists, and every test that I would take would come back all clear, and they would just kind of tell me to live my life. You're young, you're fine. And that's definitely another conversation for another day, of melanated people's experience with traditional medicine. But I definitely didn't feel cared for. I definitely didn't feel concerned about. And that frustration kind of led to me taking my own way, and the true way, the way that my people have been utilizing for years, but has been lost in recent generations. It was time for that to come back, and that's how I gained my passion for holistic health. I can look back at my frustration with doctors and specialists, but that frustration fueled me to all the knowledge that I have today and all my practices that I use today to feel healthy as I want to be. And that's just a prime example of life is always happening for you, not to you. And again, going back to my strategy with the fast. So for me, I did 128 ounces of juice a day, which is a gallon, to make sure that I was getting an ample amount of liquid calories in and wasn't feeling sluggish. There is a quota that if you are juice fasting, you need to be drinking a certain amount of juice. My suggestion is a gallon a day. And so I did half of that. I did Dr. Yakai's green juice, also called geogenetic juice, and it's basically a mix of vegetables, fruits, and herbs that are kind of all-encompassing for the body and healing. It kind of hits all the markers and what you would need for healing in general. So with that green juice being kind of all-encompassing, it was helping me remove heavy metals from my body. It was facilitating bile flow and my digestion, really healing my gut. I paired that with just red apple juice. So most days I'll probably do Honeycrisp. It really didn't matter as long as it was a red apple. I just wanted a fruit that was in the green juice that my body could kind of easily, consistently recognize. So the green juice calls for green apples. I'm like, okay, well, the rest of my juice, I'm gonna just make sure that I do apples, just to keep it simple, just to keep my body familiar and just be the easiest and gentlest on my body as possible. And my reason for not just fully doing green juice is because that recipe does take a bit of time to make. And at the time I was working a 9 to 5 standard hours, beyond blessed to work a hybrid schedule. So I was in office a couple days a week and not the full week. So it was manageable, but still with kind of that time crunch, full green juice would have been great, but it really wasn't feasible. So again, I just love to reiterate, I completed my 90-day juice fast while working 40 hours a week, a 9 to 5. So I just want to encourage any and everybody who's really been researching fasting or just lifestyle changes, holistic health in general, and think that their job or life, worldly circumstances are too much for you to achieve a long-term fast or anything of the sorts. It's possible, it's doable. I don't think I'll ever be that exhausted in my lifetime, but it's doable. So a normal day for me would look like I would get up and I would have my first juice around 8 o'clock. By that time I would be at work. I would drink my juice. My next juice would be around 11. My following juice after that would be around 2 or 3. And then my last juice would ideally be at 4 o'clock. And I wanted to / needed to wrap up drinking my juice for the day around that time, just so I could empty my bladder the rest of the day and I wasn't having to get up every 5 minutes to use the bathroom. But again, I do say it's doable. It wasn't easy. You're gonna have to dig deep. You're gonna have to really look within yourself and really understand that you deserve a vital, healthy life. You don't deserve the sickness that just is normal in our society today. Like, just think about your friends or family. Who doesn't have some type of condition or symptom or something nagging that they deal with on a day-to-day basis? America is sick. America is sick in general. And you don't deserve that. That's not your birthright. Your birthright is vitality. Your birthright is homeostasis. Your birthright is to be your dream self in your dream body. And I'll tell you, with my line of symptoms and how just the specific combination and how potent they were, I was scared for my life. I'm 24 years old, and I know it's easy to be like, well, you have youth on your side, blah, blah, blah. It's a lot more common that you think for people's lives to be cut short. From a lack of understanding of nutrition, environment, and our bodies, especially melanated people. As someone who's a Black American, we don't even have a staple healthy cuisine. We have soul food. Soul food is so rich and so like fattening food that it's kind of, for me at least, and like my folks, like something that you eat on occasion for special occasions, but like that's our delicacies, right? Like that's our, like, as Black Americans, Indigenous Americans, that is our cuisine. And if you look at any other race as ethnicity, they have a cuisine that is nurturing for their bodies, that they've been utilizing for generations. And we're kind of, for obvious reasons, a lot of our history and our practices and our teachings have been erased. And I just know that for me personally, like, my mission on this earth is to reignite the flame and reignite the cycle of going back to what our ancestors were doing and thriving on. My biggest push with knowing that I needed to do this 90-day fast, all odds were on the fast. You know, I was moved by spirit. God was putting me in the right way. I knew in my heart of hearts and my soul that this is what I needed to do. But I was also pushed like, yo, I don't want to lose my life. I don't want to lose my life in my 20s. I deserve and want to live a happy and whole, full life. And being scared out of your mind that way will awaken up a different type of discipline in you. So once I got through maybe day, matter of fact, I'll say this. I embarked on my fast. Ideally, it was going to go for 90 days. I made it 10 days and realized I did not have the right equipment. So I needed a better juicer. I needed different tools to facilitate juicing every 3 days. I was juicing every 3 days. So I would make enough for 3 days. And then once I was on the last batch of juice, so like I would drink 4 32-ounce mason jars. Once it was on day 3, so day 3 I was down in like my last 4 mason jars, I would juice. I wasn't missing days. It would be slightly days here or there that I would buy store-bought juice, the cold press store-bought juice, but it definitely wasn't as potent and as satiating and as nutrient dense as my homemade juice, of course, but it did the job. And once I realized I need better equipment, and even though I didn't have the equipment that I needed, I did make it 10 days. And seeing myself make it 10 days straight, flawlessly, I was like, okay, that proved everything I needed. Whatever it was about those 10 days, I was like, I knew I can go 90, no problem. And of course, it's hard to feel hungry all the time. it's hard to feel. It's different because when you're drinking, when you're juiced, feasting, we'll say juice feasting, you don't necessarily feel hungry. Like you kind of feel what you would deem it to be hunger, but it's more like your body and your metabolism moving and facilitating itself. So if anyone intermittent fast, you kind of know what I mean. Like once you eat and then cut off your eating window, you still kind of feel not necessarily hungry, but your metabolism moving. And once you kind of get your body postured up to be on that food vacation, it's pretty much smooth sailing as long as you're grounded in your spirituality, your purpose, and why you're doing it in the first place, and just knowing that it's not forever. It was definitely hard, especially at night, how hungry you can get and feel. It was a struggle, but I knew that this was progress. I knew that this was the answer, so it didn't really faze me. It didn't really faze me. I just made sure that I kept myself busy. I was busy enough with work, and I would get off and try to work out or do things I enjoyed. Not treated it like it was such a dilemma, and more of just, this is my life. Like presently, this is just what's going on. This is how I am taking care of myself. And I mean, I will admit and have no shame in admitting, there was, I would literally say 3 or 4 times where I did have like some pistachios and dry mango, just because I was I just kind of need something to push me along. But that's normal, that's natural, and that's okay. And during a fast of that extent, it wasn't undermining progress whatsoever. And this fast, looking back, gave me a perfectionist mentality when it came to physical health, and I will get back to that later once I talk about more post-fast, but hold that thought. So once your body kind of gets postured into the detox cycle and the food vacation, for me, it really wasn't the main challenge. It was just more of the energy sway. So again, you're taking all the stress off your body. There was points where I felt like I was Superman, where I had all the energy in the world. I'm kicking butt at work. So at that point, I was in IT service desk specialist, so constantly on the phone, doing tech support. So I was taking maybe like 20 to 30 calls a day. So I'm constantly talking to people. It was plenty of time during the day where I just felt like Superman. I just felt amazing, all the energy in the world. And then it would be 2 hours where I just like had to lay down or take a nap, and that's normal. And those are just detox symptoms. But I would say adjusting to that, being easy on your body. I wasn't able to really work out. I wasn't even able to do body weight exercises, just because your body it doesn't have any rebuilding material. I'm just flushing and giving my body minerals and herbs. Like it's not, I'm not getting any protein, I'm not getting any much calories, I'm not getting the solids that I need to sustain someone who will be working out. So I probably did a bodyweight workout once and was sore for like a whole week, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I can't do this. So I just was only doing cardio. I was getting in the sauna as much as I could. I was hooping, and that just did me amazingly well. And I would just say the hardest thing for me was just the adjustment to lifestyle, as well as getting used to the flow of things, and accepting that, as well as the emotional detox. There would just be, as random as I would get a instance of, I need to lay down, I'm tired, I would also just get instantly emotional. Like at times emotional towards, like, it could be tears, like on some I'm like, emotions are flowing and I'm letting go of them that I didn't even realize I was holding on to or feeling or any of this such. Like, when you're doing, again, like, existing in this human experience is holistic. So the physical with the mental with the spiritual with the emotional. And you just gotta honestly be up for the fight. You gotta be up for what comes with it. I just feel like that's the biggest hurdle for me. It wasn't the not eating, because again, it's coming from someone who was having issues every time they ate something. Their body was reacting every time they ate something. So I'm like, bro, I could use some time away from from trying all these different diets and eating and still feeling heavy all the time and put down. Like, that wasn't the worst for me. It was actually, the best part about it was feeling so light and feeling so airy and feeling so uninflamed, feeling more just light and balanced and consistent. Again, how I stayed on track honestly was, and this is a sentiment that I had when I first started veganism, is that I need to reach back and touch my ancestors. I need to be the overturn of lost practices. Like, there's no amount of history that the system can erase from melanated people that we will not always come back to source. And I just know that my mission was always to facilitate coming back to source and sharing that with other people. I didn't realize I was gonna have to go through all that I went through to gain all this knowledge, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So I made it through my fast, and I'm kind of had the expectation of, oh, I'm all ready to go. I'm all hood up. I'm all good. I should be able to just go back to eating. I should be able to just go back to eating like my cooked foods, my fats. As long as I'm vegan, I'm good. As long as I'm mindful, I'm good. That was not the case. My body was still sensitive to fats thereafter. My body was still sensitive to cooked foods thereafter. I was having those allergic type of reactions / flare-ups post-fast. And that's something I didn't want to face up to for a while. It's definitely something I didn't want to face up to. I eventually kind of changed what I was doing and went back to more of like the raw diet and the fruitarianism. So just essentially only eating fruit. And that honestly kind of pushed me back into that limbo that I was speaking about earlier. That was only pre-fast. So just I could be on fruit for 3 or 4 days straight, feeling amazing, feeling great. Energy kind of low, but I just thought that was part of the process. And then I would just binge out. Pizza, like sugary desserts, like all the above, where it was kind of not like I was breaking even of what I was doing, because like fruit and like raw vegetables and produce are always going to overpower the bad, just because that's just down to how like powerful and vitalizing those foods are. But yeah, I can definitely say post-fast, it did exactly what I needed to do up front. You know, I didn't feel inflamed. I felt good. But it seemed like, again, like my energy was great. Everything felt good. But again, I was still sensitive to specific foods where I was just like, had so much resentment of like, I've done all this and I'm still having issues. And that limbo continued on for a while, for months. And now I'm at a place where I feel stable. I feel safe in my body. I feel well and truly vital. And this is mid-April of 2025. I did my fast again August of last year. And that type of limbo kind of lasted up until, I would say, end of February, where I was like, okay, bro, like, you might still be reactive to certain things, but just eat the right things, and that'll streamline what you want to feel. And it's just kind of like, once I made that switch of just getting back to alkaline, and not trying to be so much of a perfectionist of feeling like I only need to eat fruit, or only need to eat raw, or those are the only ways I'm going to heal. That was never the case. That was never true. And I was neglecting the mental aspect of my holistic health, and going through, putting in so much discipline with that fast, and then coming out of it and still having certain symptoms, and still feeling like, damn, like, why do I still feel this way? It made perfect sense why I just was like threw everything out the window, and was just eating whatever. I kind of had to refine my discipline. I honestly had to not give a fuck for a period of time, just to kind of allow myself to truly balance out, and allow my nervous system to rest, allow myself to break that perfectionism stigma that I thought. Because when you commit to something like a 90-day fast, you are basically gonna have to essentially be perfect. And I kind of carried that post-fast to my detriment. And again, it was 100% worth it. It did exactly what it needed to do for me. I don't have the asthma symptoms anymore. My thyroid is good. My gut is good. My digestion is good. I still am kind of being mindful of certain just kind of like blood flow and heart health. That's my focus right now, but it's manageable. And I'll say that if you're gonna do a long-term fast, don't expect the benefits to necessarily kick in right away. You will feel a difference, but if the overhaul and reset that you're searching for, it's gonna come months after. It's gonna come months thereafter. And my thing is, once I made that change to, I'm gonna just do the absolute best I can and live with the results, and live with any sensitivities or inflammation that I was feeling from eating certain foods, I just allow my body to get acclimated. I allow my body to rest. I allow my body to be out of fight or flight, and let my mental rest. And that's what truly has given me such like a quantum leap and jump in my health from earlier in the year. You know, it was a quantum leap from the start of my fast to the end of my fast. And then I was seeing, with my expectations, that I wasn't where I wanted to be or thought I needed to be. And again, once I got past that, I quantum leaped yet again. And I can say that we're capable of anything. We're capable of anything. We're not in the constraints of the system that's trying to kill us, the food, the medicine. We're not limited to that. We, again, like, as human beings, we transcend all. We're all individual God pieces, capable of absolutely anything that you can imagine. And I just want to be a resource to others that have had similar things, especially people around my age that couldn't even imagine having any health issues this young. And I just want to be able to not only share, but again, be a resource. So I'm just grateful that I'm able to share this sentiment with the collective, and that I'm here to share this sentiment. And again, special God bless to Dr. Yakai, Dr. Yakai Elohim. I'm gonna go ahead and say the best doctor of my lifetime, but he'll go down in the history books, absolutely. But again, I'm just grateful, and thank you.